Alright everyone, remember back in around September and October when CNN kept labeling all of their adversaries as fake news? You know, they aimed at it, at Drudge and Breitbart and sort of the alt media or early wave internet media, as well as independent analysts. They even now aim it at people like PewDiePie or JonTron, which is probably defamation, probably should result in a lawsuit, and the Wall Street Journals and CNNs of the world should be shaking in their boots because I think they went a bridge too far. But they're not because, you know, people don't want to take initiative. CNN is very concerned now with the label fake news. I can remember, I think it was Business Insider that first suggested this around November. See, what happened is the corporate media in partnership directly with, we now know through WikiLeaks releases, they were in direct partnership with the DNC, developed the term fake news as a propaganda move in order to try to smear people like me and people like Matt Drudge or the people at Breitbart or the Blaze or whatever. Now, I don't even like the Blaze and Breitbart. I'm like, well, whatever. But the label was still dishonestly used against many outlets and individuals. It amounts to defamation of character. It probably should have resulted in a massive class action suit. In fact, there's still time for somebody to file something like that. Somebody with the capital necessary to get a couple of Harvard lawyers on board or something like that. Really rip the corporate media a new asshole. Anyway, they love the term fake news, but then Business Insider and some other groups point out, oh shit, the internet exists, and people are taking this term, flipping it around, and in massive numbers are aiming it at CNN and MSNBC and Fox and, you know, old guard legacy media outlets. Whoops, I think this backfired. You see, it's like somebody who throws a smoke bomb and doesn't take stock of which way the wind is moving. Aha, I've got you now, choke on toxic fumes. Oh shit, it's coming my way. And now as the cloud drifts lazily over CNN and MSNBC and NBC and all of these other corporate outlets, because that's what they are, they're for-profit corporations. They don't make money by telling you the truth. They make money by sensationalizing and lying to you. You know, they lie on behalf of some bank, some corporation, some government entity. It gives them money in order to conduct propaganda for them. It doesn't even have to be an organized effort. It boils down to money in half of these cases. That's how they make money. There's no magical compact of journalistic integrity. You tell me, oh, journalistic ethics. They don't have any ethics. They're a fucking corporation. The individual journalists from their affiliates might have ethics, but they dig out a story. They go and they do the actual research. They forward the story to the major network. The major network takes it, puts it in a blender, spins it around, and it doesn't even resemble the journalism that originally took place, with enough bias and spin to make you absolutely gag and vomit. That's what CNN does. It's what Fox does. It's what all these groups do. So they became concerned about the label fake news. And this has now culminated in a strange scenario in which a term that they themselves helped to develop, CNN and MSNBC and these groups in partnership with the DNC, making this term that wasn't really in the public lexicon before as a standalone term of significance. It was just, oh, this fake news and stuff. This story is fake news, but now it's used to describe entire journalistic outlets or entire corporate media firms. They took it, they helped develop it, and promulgate it on the world to try to tar the alternative media and independent analysts, people like you, people like me, who have blogs and vlogs and stuff. Now the term is being aimed at them directly by the White House, and they have the gall to say, oh, it's attacking the First Amendment. So when Feinstein came out years ago and said, oh, well, bloggers aren't protected by the First Amendment. They don't have rights. They're not conducting real journalism or real political analysis. They're just little peasants and they should be shut up and subject to lawsuits and censorship. And that wasn't you never reported on that. That wasn't an attack on the First Amendment. All Trump is doing is giving his honest opinion of CNN as a corporate firm. You are a business entity. If Obama comes out and says, well, this coal mine poisoned a bunch of people and they're bad, bad, how is that corporation any different from you? If they put out a press release, they're doing literally the same thing that you do. You simply have a license from the FCC to operate. It's the only difference between you and any other business firm in the United States. It's the same friggin' thing. In fact, you're part of a multinational network with no specific loyalty to the United States whatsoever. Why shouldn't we assume that you're lying to us? Many of the alt media sites, they're one nation. They operate, their servers are in one nation. all the people that are there doing anything are in one nation, and they primarily fixate on news within one nation or from one sort of national perspective. You have someone like myself. I'm in the United States. I'm a U.S. citizen. I talk about foreign affairs quite a bit, but, a larger proportion is within the U.S. It's U.S. politics, U.S. current events. I actually have presumed national loyalty. CNN doesn't. They're a multinational corporate subsidiary. Fox News is the same thing, by the way. I don't even think people realize how much of Fox's shares are held by the Saudi Arabians. They wonder why they won't talk about the, new unredacted 9/11 pages that Trump had dug out. They won't talk about that. Yeah. Never report on that to you. I wonder why. They want to throw these terms around like fake news or whatever at their adversaries to try to get people to distrust them. And at the same time, they turn around, they say, oh, well, Trump or some other magical group is trying to get people to distrust the media. You are not the media. You are part of the media. CNN and Fox and MSNBC, these big networks, are one now relatively small part of the media. Most people who conduct journalism now don't have journalism degrees. Most people who analyze politics are not policy wonks getting six-figure salaries to read off a teleprompter. And the people at CNN and MSNBC and all these other firms can't deal with this fact. They're losing steam rapidly. With the young demographic, they're in third place. Otherwise, they're in second place. With people roughly my age or in their 40s or something, they're barely ahead of YouTube. And they're behind YouTube with people who are in their early 20s and teens. And that's a few years ago, it wasn't like that. A few years ago, they were still about even with like the on-demand or Netflix-style services. And they were still well ahead of something like YouTube. Certainly like Hulu or Amazon or Twitch or something. Now they're falling behind all of these. All of these other groups are growing. Every single one of them is gaining prominence, except for cable TV. They're the only ones that are losing here. It's their audience being hemorrhaged to the online world. People realized, including people who typically were still part a few years ago of the only TV demographic. Only TV for me, no internet, I don't even have an internet connection. They realized that they could stream 10,000 times more stuff on their TV, which they're already comfortable using, from the internet using an internet connection, and they didn't need cable anymore. They can get the same shows if they really want them. But here's the thing, why buy a cable package? You're probably watching 1 or 2 channels. Well, for that very small handful of actual decent material that you want to ingest, you can just go online. You can still get it. You can get it on Netflix, maybe Hulu, Amazon, whatever it happens to be. You can get those now. YouTube streaming bundle. You know, you want to watch cable news for some odd reason. You actually like their weird-ass propaganda. You like the fake news. Well, then you can get it with an online, but you're giving them less money. It costs a hell of a lot less. YouTube streaming service costs a hell of a lot less than all the cable packages that you'll get. Why don't you just get that? Hell, I support the idea now. Originally, I was like, oh, I don't think these corporate firms should be, using YouTube for streaming. It might harm independent creators. No, actually, in retrospect, it might help YouTube to grow a lot more, and people will be paying attention to that, but then they'll see related videos on some of this stuff. Maybe they come to my content. Maybe they go watch Sargon or Molyneux or Razorfist or something. So it's actually probably a good thing. And if it helps YouTube to make money without all the other corporate advertisers, which are much more numerous, yeah, it's a pretty good trade-off, I think. All things considered. YouTube Red's even better. But yeah, CNN is so worried about being called fake news. You helped to invent the term. You just didn't want people to aim that term at you. And I can remember months ago when they started complaining, oh, Russian hackers and people from Putin's Russia and stuff, they're the ones calling us fake news. But this term isn't supposed to mean us. It's supposed to mean people that are mean and bad and they're on the internet, or Matt Drudge or something like that. That's what they wanted it to apply to. But once you unleash a newspeak term, here's the big thing about the internet that these cable firms apparently don't get. You can make a term if you want and inject it into public consciousness as newspeak. Very quickly, though, extremely large numbers of individuals who don't like your firm, don't like necessarily your social or political views, can take that, make use of Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everything else, and they can invert that term and aim it right back at you. They can do it in mere days. It takes them a lot less time, no actual capital. It doesn't take significant organization. It's not required. All that's required is someone made a thread on 4chan, someone made a post on Reddit or something like that. Pretty soon, you're the one taking fire. So I would encourage these corporate firms to shut up, because every time they attempt to conduct propaganda now, it just gets aimed back at them. They're actually shooting themselves in the foot. Good. I hope they stop existing. I have nothing but unrestrained anger towards these groups for lying to the American public for so many years. That includes all of them. I'm not going to exempt Fox because, oh, Tucker Carlson or bullshit. I don't care about Tucker Carlson. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, you've got one sane person on the network. Well, then let him make a YouTube channel and take crowdfunding. Probably make as much money as he already is. That's the funny part. These pundits, the ones that do have talent, they haven't even realized how successful they could be if they just joined up with the online community. They could still have people conduct journalism for them on site. They've got the money to do that. They've got 7-figure salaries, probably got 10, 20 million in the bank. Hire a couple of people to go out and do some investigating, get ideas, and make a little home studio and stuff. Your overhead will be so much lower. You won't be as restrained and censored. People will actually respect you for a change. I'd think that'd be a good thing. Yeah, the YouTube should try to attract pundits to its platform. It should go to these people, send them an email, say, why don't you quit your job? And give you like a verified YouTube account and so forth. And you can do your stuff here. And it would be so much simpler. And then they should build like an app or a tool that lets people like them and honestly, people like us, independent creators too, to amalgamate material seamlessly in order to report on it. It'd be much more efficient. YouTube can completely replace cable news. Like no competition. It wouldn't have competition from even the on-demand platforms. It doesn't even, Google doesn't even know its own power. They're deep asleep on this one. But it would not take them much effort to develop something that could completely replace the entire world news apparatus. And with that level of unrestrained power, by the way, they wouldn't have to listen to like the European censorship law bullshit. When the EU says, oh, well, you need to crack down on my hate speech, which isn't even hate speech. Or my bigotry, which half the time isn't actually bigoted content. They wouldn't even have to listen to them. They'd say, up yours. We'll just tell people to proxy, to use a VPN. Screw yourself. That's what they should do. Google should lean on the EU, not the other way around. And for CNN to complain about being called fake news. You remember that time when you claimed that it was illegal for people to go on WikiLeaks and read their releases? And that you bright shining messiahs of truth would report on it and tell people what they needed to know? Or when your friendly network there, MSNBC, that, let's face it, never says anything bad about you, because there's no competition in the legacy media, because there's no free market in the legacy media due to the FCC. You remember that time that they came out? It wasn't even that long ago. It was after the election. I think it was last month. And said, oh, well, people should know what we tell them and nothing more, something to that effect. You remember that? Oh, sounds like propaganda to me. It sounds like state-run media, or at least state co-opted. Doesn't sound like independent analysis or journalism or anything like that. It sounds like you're just running around with chickens, like chickens with your heads cut off because you're terrified of the internet. Because half of you don't apparently know how to use it. I look at your like Twitter handles, and it's full of the same boring crap people get on cable news, and then you wonder, oh, why are these independent creators, why are they getting so much more popular? I'm sitting here stalled out. You've got your core audience, and half of them will abandon you too because you're not funny, you're not entertaining. It's funny to watch. That's about all. Peace out.